Okay, cool. So it's you and me, and your name is Sufia, which is a very pretty name.
Hi.
How old are you?
7.
Excellent. And it looks like you're living in a beautiful home that's on wheels.
Yes, we are.
You're in Mexico, right? You're at the New Earth in Mexico. You're on near the land there. But
Yes.
but you've come all the way from where? Where did you drive all the way from? Another country?
Canada. Vancouver Island.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So you came from Vancouver Island, and Sofia, you had to leave your friends behind, you had to leave your home behind, and you had to leave some family behind, right?
Yeah.
So why did you come? Why did you leave them all? Why? What was the reason?
To come to Mexico to build the new Earth.
Yes. Excellent. That's the best answer. Okay, so I want to ask you, I heard, swam all the way across the very, very deep Cenote Azul. I heard that you swam all the way across. Now, number one, that is so deep that we don't even know how deep it is. So I think you are incredibly brave. You're braver than me because I would never have the courage to swim across it. What were you thinking?
I don't know. I was thinking that after turning 7, I could do it. So I did, and I gave it a try.
That's amazing. Tell me something honestly, right? Hand on heart. Were you afraid?
Well, I wasn't really afraid. I mean, I was kind of getting tired, but I just went for it. So I did it.
So I met you on Christmas Eve when you came to our little party that we were having there with our New Earth team. When I was asking your mum about you and your brother, who I love very much because he's like you, he's like magic. And I asked her about you, and she said that you do podcasting on your own. And I said, well, if that's the case, she's going to have to do a podcast with me. So here we are, right?
Well, what do you do when you feel sad and lonely?
Oof, that's a very interesting question. What do I do when I feel sad and lonely? You know, I think that generally when I feel sad and lonely, I try to look out there and imagine those people in the world who don't have anything like I have, who don't have a warm house, who don't have nice clothes, or don't have, nice food, or can't get on an airplane and travel somewhere, and don't have the love of family and friends. And I think about them, and then I extend my heart to them, even if it's just in the imagination, because those people are real and there's so many of them all around the world. And then when I extend my imagination and my love to them, it takes me out of my own sadness very, very quickly. Yeah. And let me ask you the question. What do you do when you're sad?
Well, what I do is I just let it out, and then I just think about good stuff and go on to my playing.
Well, I think that's very intelligent. Anyway, look, you're so young. You've got maybe you've got like 300 or 400 years ahead of you, because, your generation, mind you, even my generation and mum's generation, we're going to live for hundreds of years, because we've reached that time now where we've got the science. We know we've got the science, but we just have to stop the bad guys, because the bad guys are still poisoning the water and the food and the air. And that's what makes us sick. And that's what makes our bodies get old and tired, because our bodies are fighting against all the poisons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we stop those guys doing what they're doing, how do we do that? How do we stop the bad guys? You tell me.
That's a hard thing to answer, because maybe we could make a big team and send good energy and it will go away.
So I'm going to take a note I'm going to put down Sufia's suggestion is we all get together and then we put good energy out towards the bad guys and then they will go. And you're right, because actually we know that that's the way it works, you know. We don't need to even take care of them and their problem. We just need to do our thing, right? We just need to get on and build the new earth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You took a long time to agree with me. Do you agree with me 100%?
Yeah.
Are there any buts? Do I hear a but coming?
No.
Okay. So my next question is The Wizard of Oz. What can you tell us about the Wizard of Oz?
Well, I think he's a mouse that's behind the curtain that's weak and dumb.
Okay. I like that. Carry on. Tell me more about him.
I mean, he is a human, but I think of him as a mouse because he can't really do anything. He's just pretending that he has control over the world.
So what would you say to the wizard if you were to open the curtain and see the wizard? What would you say to him?
I would say, stop doing that. And then he would just stop because I have more power than him.
You would tell him to stop and he would stop because you have all the power, right?
He just thinks he has the power because government and everything has his back. So it's like this whole team. But our team's bigger.
It is.
Than his.
You know, I agree with that. And I honestly think it's not just bigger. I think our team is like 100 times bigger. I think when the truth comes out, everyone will see that most of us are good humans, right? You agree?
Yeah.
You have to agree with me when I say do agree. You have to agree. You have to do that and nod.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So.
Okay, I agree.
Now you get a chance to ask me a question before I ask my next question, because that's the way it goes in a Q&A like this.
Okay. So you want me to ask a question? How are you so fancy?
How am I so... What?
How are you so fancy?
Well, you have to explain to me first, what do you mean by fancy?
I don't exactly know. Money.
All right. Well, I tell you what. So we'll leave that question alone because I don't even know what fancy means and I don't even have a dictionary here. But I'll come back to you on that answer. So how about you ask me your next question?
How did you do all this?
Do all this?
Yeah, make the community do everything.
Oh, I see what
How are you doing this?
So I've been doing this stuff for a very, very long time. But to answer the question, how do you do something? The answer, Sufia, is that you just do it. You just do it. Because what I learned in life was that there was always 100 reasons why you shouldn't do something. And everyone's standing there going, oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You should know your place. You know, you should just stick to what you know. And I don't have any filters. So I just decided to do everything that I could think of doing. And if I failed, and I have failed a lot, that I would just get up and I would dust myself down and I would try it again. And you know what happens in the end?
What?
You win. Whatever it is that you were dreaming of, it becomes real. How do we heal the world?
Well, the start, maybe if we could convince the people to, I don't know, not throw garbage in nature.
So you're saying that we should take more care of the planet. We shouldn't throw stuff away. So we should just go for natural things and keep it all natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's very, very good advice. So I'm interested to ask you something. Do you have any kind of memory of past lifetimes? put it this way. Can you remember where you were, what it was like before you were born in this world?
Well, I remember that I was like in paradise, a world that was so cool. It was just so cool.
And can you remember, were there like animals there? Was it like trees? Was it quite similar to this world in some ways? Or was it very different?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite different. There was a little bit the same. It had like palm trees and animals, and yeah, it was a really cool place. And we didn't have all the stuff. We just used logs to make a house. It was so cool.
And did you have like a family, like the same, like a mother and father? How does it work in that world?
I don't think I had a mother and father. I think I was just by myself.
Interesting. Very interesting. And tell me, in this world, what is it that you want to do? You're 7 now, you turn 7 now, and in like 10 years, you're going to be 17. And in 13 years, 14 years time, you're going to be like 21, which means you'll be like grown up. Okay. What do you think you'll be doing at that time? Tell me.
I think I'll be doing the same thing.
Excellent. Which is what?
Which is helping the new earth, fighting for what we believe. Yeah, lots of things.
When you say fighting for what we believe, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, we believe that the bad guys aren't good. Like, we know that they're good inside, but we're helping them be good. We aren't like exactly fighting or like sending good energy.
Okay, I like that. Sending good energy to them to make them better. And in a way, what you're saying is that we have to raise their frequency, right?
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. That is the way to do it. And when you talk about the new earth, we're talking about what? We're talking about how we have relationships with nature, and how we have relationships with animals and with other people, right?
Yeah.
Do we have school in the new earth? And if we do, how should we go about making a school there?
It could be a really, really, really big school. Like, it can have so many different rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, but don't forget, Sufia, that our school is a natural school. So most of the class is going to be outdoors. Most of the classes is going to be under the trees and under the stars and in the farm and working with the soil and working with the animals and working with the laguna and the rivers and going into the jungle and learning about the jungle and learning about the bark on the trees and the mushrooms and the soil and the leaves and learning about light and shade and then art and painting and sculpture and working with the mud, right? And making things and building things and arts and crafts and whatever you want to do, as long as it doesn't harm anyone else and as long as it's creative, right?
Yeah, we need it to let it be a little more like, we want it to have lessons and stuff, but we want it to be more free. We don't want to just be sitting in a desk outside looking in notebooks after notebooks after notebooks.
Exactly. Well, you just said it better than I could have said.
We need to be outside. We need to play and have fun.
So, do you have any final questions for me?
What's the role of children?
Honestly, my answer to you is that the role of children is to teach. The children are the ones who need to teach the grown-ups and to remind us of where we come from, to remind us of heaven, to remind us of innocence, and to remind us of our purity. So I would say the children are the teachers. And I think that children have always been the teachers It's just that we were very stupid for a very long time, for thousands of years, and we got it wrong. We got it the other way around. So we try to teach kids, and then we mess them up, when actually they're closer to heaven than we are, because they just came from heaven. So we should be asking them, what was it like? Can you remember? Tell us about your dreams. Tell us about your stories. What do you remember? Instead, we tell them, don't be silly. Of course, that's not real. That's in the imagination. Don't talk about that. And then by the time they're your age, 6 or 7, most of them have forgotten that they come from heaven.
What is heaven?
Okay. Well, you're asking me really, really tough questions. So I think when you do your podcast, I think you're going to be really good. What is heaven? Well,
what they're teaching in the schools is just like, that's where you go when you're dead. But what I think is it's a different dimension. And when you die, it's just another stage of life.
The important thing probably is that we have to start to think of this world as being heaven. I think that's the important thing, that if we start to regard this life and this world as being heaven, and all of the beautiful animals and the butterflies and the fishes and the birds and the people, the black people, the brown people, the yellow people, the red people, I mean, and then there's other people that come from other tribes in the other part of the world, like the Kalahari Bushmen, and they're like little guys. And then you've got pygmies, like little miniature people living in the jungles in some places. Different tribes all around the world, and so many different shapes and sizes and colors. It's like, I mean, what's a human being? We should be using our frequency to raise the frequency of the bad guys who are destroying the world and who are creating war and creating disease and making people poor and unhappy. And we've just got to raise the vibration of those people with our hearts, like you said, exactly like you said. And then I think everything will change. Last word on this interview to you.
Well, write your own story and don't follow their story. Write your own story. They don't have control over you. That's what they just want, because those people have had something sad or bad happen to them, so they're just acting bad. But we need to let our frequency go up and help them and make them good people. And then everything will be a good life, and none of this will happen ever again.
That's beautiful. Okay, so give me a high five. You can touch the screen. Give me a high five. And I'll see you soon in Mexico, okay?
Okay.
Thanks for doing this with me today.
You're welcome.
All right, and I'll
you.
see you soon. Let me know if there's anything you want me to bring you from over here, okay? Maybe I'll get you some Turkish delight. What about that?
Okay.
All right. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.